A world-class striker, Stephen Thompson would like nothing more than to replicate that success in mixed martial arts. Tonight, he makes his UFC debut against Stittgen.
Unbeaten in over 50 kickboxing matches, Stephen Wonderboy Thompson was one of the most decorated competitors that sport had seen in recent years. But when the Kempo karate expert decided he was ready for a new challenge, he migrated to mixed martial arts, where he is now 5-0 with 2 knockouts and 1 submission. Top Chicago prospect Dan Stittgen may have gotten a late start in MMA, but in just 3 years as a pro, the 31-year-old has fought his way into the UFC, where he hopes to use his diverse submission game to make Thompson tap out tonight. Coming up next, Stephen Wonderboy Thompson takes on Dan the Anvil Stittgen.
Joe, what we have in Stephen Thompson is the American version of Lyoto Machida. Stephen Thompson started training in karate at age 3. His father was a professional fighter, and the family has owned a karate school for decades. All the kids, that would be all the 5 children, the 3 boys and 2 girls in the Thompson family, have trained in karate since they were very young. And Thompson has an incredible combined kickboxing record between his professional and amateur kickboxing matches of 57-0 with 40 knockouts.
I mean, that really is a spectacular record. Really, I've never even heard of anybody entering the UFC with such an amazing record. It is a very different style of fighting, but absolutely it's applicable. And one of the things that this guy brings to the table, Mike, which is very unusual, is a very powerful front leg attack. Front leg side kicks, front leg roundhouse kicks, completely unorthodox style. He likes to keep his hands down low. He's got powerful punches, great head kicks. Really an amazing opportunity we have tonight to watch this gentleman in his UFC debut. This really should be exciting.
For those who are kickboxing fans and they go back to pure kickboxing days, when talking to UFC matchmakers, of course the head matchmaker, Joe Silva, Sean Shelby does the 145s, 135s, 125s. They said that Stephen Thompson, as a kickboxer, reminds them of a young Rick Rufus. When Rick Rufus first broke into kickboxing, of course, he had an illustrious career.
That's a very good comparison because his style, very much like Rick Rufus' style, is a karate style where it's above the leg kicks. They're not kicking the legs as much as in these kickboxing matches. There's no leg kick. He does have those techniques in his arsenal, but most of his wins are what's called like PKA style, where they wear long pants and they don't use leg kicks.
Stephen Wonderboy Thompson set to make his UFC debut here tonight in Vegas. Now, not surprisingly, 5 fights for Stephen Thompson. In each fight, his opponent has tried to take him down. And that's exactly what Dan Stittgen is going to attempt to do tonight. Stittgen, 7-1 overall in his career, takes this fight, his UFC debut, on short notice, stepping in for Justin Edwards. He is a submission-based fighter. And oh, by the way, I should mention on Stephen Thompson, his brother-in-law is Carlos Machado.
Yeah, he has an excellent ground game to go with it, but he's going to need it against this young man. This young man's #1 goal and desire is to grab a hold of Stephen Thompson and drag this fight to the ground and submit him. He is a submission specialist, and this is a classic matchup between striker and submission guy, although the striker will bring a very unorthodox and unusual style.
Dan Stittgen, born in Woodstock, Illinois, enters the octagon on a 3-fight winning streak. The one thing he does not want to do in this matchup is give Thompson time and space, because if he does so, Stephen Thompson will light him up on the feet.
Absolutely, and he's going to have to figure out a way to get past that front leg. side kicks, straight kicks, all the kicks that you rarely see in Muay Thai, Stephen Thompson is an expert at. And that's hard to train for. It's hard to find someone to duplicate that in the gym.
Dan the Anvil Stittgen set to face off against Stephen Wonderboy Thompson. Our Tale of the Tape is brought to you by Bud Light. Here we go. Stittgen is 31, 3 years older than Thompson. Wonderboy will have a 4-inch reach advantage. With the official introductions of this welterweight fight, here is the veteran voice of the Octagon, Bruce Buffer.
Ladies and gentlemen, this fight is 3 rounds in the UFC welterweight division. Introducing first, fighting out of the blue corner, a mixed martial artist holding a professional record, 5 wins, no losses, standing 6 feet tall, weighing in at 171 pounds. Fighting out of Simpsonville, South Carolina, Stephen Wonderboy Thompson. And now introducing his opponent, fighting out of the red corner, a submission wrestler holding a professional record, 7 wins, 1 loss, standing 6 feet 1 inch tall, weighing in at 170 pounds. Fighting out of Schaumburg, Illinois, Dan the Anvil Stittgen. And when the action begins, our referee in charge, Josh Rosenthal.
Josh Rosenthal, our referee. The beautiful Ariani, Shondella, Brittany, great to be here. Mandalay Bay Event Center, Super Bowl weekend. Dan Stittgen and Stephen Thompson. And here we go. Wonderboy in the black trunks, white and black trunks, being sported by Dan Stittgen. The leg kick thrown early. Stephen Thompson holds his hands low, Joe.
Very low, very low. But one of the weird things about that is that his punches come from angles that you don't see. It's not the best style if you're facing a great striker, especially a guy with great hands. You would want to keep your hands up high and tight, and that is there's a reason why people hold their hands like that. But his techniques come from very odd angles. See, there's that front leg, Mike, that I talked about. And note, though, that he's throwing that with the right leg. So he will switch, like a lot of karate guys, will switch back and forth from orthodox to southpaw. But Dan Stittgen is going to have a hard time dealing with this front leg.
And from the angle in which he's standing against his opponent,
totally sideways.
Yes, totally sideways, and so that makes it a little bit, it doesn't make it impossible, but it makes it a little bit more challenging to get the takedown because you're not square in front of your opponent to shoot for the hips.
Yeah, well, Stittgen also should be able to see when Thompson adjusts his stance, and that's when techniques will come off the back leg. When he moves his right leg, or whichever one is in back as he's attacking, if he moves it slightly offline and not sideways completely, then you know he's going to be able to throw those techniques off the back leg. But as he stands completely sideways, only the front leg is available to attack with. And that's something to consider. Right now, Stittgen is sort of frozen in front of him, not knowing exactly how to deal with this style.
Well, haven't we said that many times with some guy named Lyoto Machida? You know, you come in with such a unique style that you cannot get a training partner to replicate, and it makes it very difficult to find a way to make things work. I mean, Stittgen basically there, he just put his head down and just tried to grab onto Stephen Thompson.
The difference between Thompson and Machida, though, is that front leg attack. And Machida, although he has all the techniques in karate that are available, he does not have the sort of front leg diversity that Thompson has.
And that said, let us not compare a young 28-year-old who is 5-0 as a mixed martial artist to the former UFC light heavyweight champion Lyoto Machida. The big comparison is that their fathers were both karate masters and they started training karate at a young age.
And actually, both of them were very successful as amateur karate fighters before they entered into MMA.
I mean, the accomplishments in the karate world and in the kickboxing world of Stephen Thompson basically took up half the page of his bio.
Right now, Dan Stittgen is attempting to kickbox with Stephen Thompson. He's only made one run at taking him down, and he's just getting lit up here.
Well, and that's what I had said right as they were walking in, Joe. Stittgen does not want to give time and space to Stephen Thompson. Not only the fact that he's a much better striker than Stittgen is, but also the fact that Thompson has the reach advantage.
Reach advantage, speed advantage.
Striking-wise, a huge experience advantage. And the combination again, it ends with a head kick.
Doesn't have enough steam on him. Let's go, Steve.
So far, Thompson looks very relaxed in there, looks calm, finding his rhythm and his distance. And Stittgen looks very awkward. Stittgen lands a nice right leg kick.
Now that said, as much as we've talked about Stephen Thompson, he has done very little damage to Dan Stittgen here in the first round.
You're comfortable. You're good. You got the rhythm. Let's go.
As unorthodox as it is, if he works his way up to the higher level of talent and the just
That's
like
it.
that. How good was that? Well, he will work his way up to the higher level of talent.
And that's what that young man has. It's very unusual. His incredible leg dexterity and kicking technique. And what he did there, I believe, we're going to take a look at it in the replay, but I believe he faked low and then went high. A classic karate technique. Let's watch it. Yup. Right over the shoulder, Mike, so he didn't see it coming. Dan Stittgen had no idea that kick was on the way because the way that Stephen Thompson placed it, it was blind to him until it came over the shoulder and then landed on the face. Really a beautiful, beautiful attack by Stephen Thompson. And this is what we expected from this young man, and this is what he delivered. A very exciting new entry into the UFC.
That is what we call a highlight reel knockout for Wonder Boy Stephen Thompson, who is now 6-0 as a professional mixed martial artist with the official decision. Here is Bruce Buffer.
Ladies and gentlemen, referee Josh Rosenthal has called a stop to this contest at 4 minutes, 13 seconds of the very first round. Declaring the winner by knockout, Stephen Wonderboy Thompson.
Winner by knockout. Here's Joe.
All right, I'm here with Stephen Wonderboy Thompson. Listen, man, we've been hearing a lot about you from the karate world for a long time, and this entry here tonight into the UFC came with a lot of pressure, I'm sure, but boy, did you deliver. How's it feel now?
Man, I mean, no words can really describe it, you know? I mean, this is the real deal. This is UFC. This is the best promotion in the world. I'm glad to be here, and I want to thank, Lord Jesus Christ for dying for our sins, and everybody who helped me get here. So, thank you guys.
Well, let's take a look at the knockout. You came into this fight with an undefeated karate and kickboxing record, and that shows the skills right there. That high roundhouse kick, he brought it over the shoulder, and he didn't even see it coming until it was too late.
Yeah, I mean, those lead leg round kicks, if you develop them, I mean, we use that a lot in karate, but you develop, they can pack a lot of power, and people don't see them.
They don't see him, and it's very unusual. Congratulations. Can't wait to see you again. Stephen Thompson, ladies and gentlemen.
Stephen Wonderboy Thompson, victorious by knockout in his UFC debut.